Welcome back, guys, to Strip by Sia. Holy shit, it's been a minute, guys. I record a lot of episodes ahead of time, but it's actually been over a month since I've last recorded because I was away for a long time. But I'm back, and we have a very fun and exciting guest today on the pod, and we have Miss Pocket Phoenix joining us today. Yay, yay.
Hello, hello. Pocket Phoenix in the house of Sia. Sia, yay.
That's me. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things here. So I was like, what do you want to talk about? Like, what should we discuss? I'm like, okay, maybe VIP, maybe a bit of like stripping. And then she like gave me all this stuff to work with. So,
information overload. Guys.
Information overload. So today we're going to be covering everything from burlesque, everything from Filipino dancing, combative arts, pole dancing, stripping, getting our sugar daddy for the first time. Blah, it's going to be so much stuff. I'm so excited to have you on. Holy shit, you're so cute. You just put you in my pocket. So if you guys don't know, Pocket Phoenix, she's fun-sized.
Yeah.
Your hair is like a unicorn. I love it.
Thank you.
And you have such a big personality. We met when? At Ava Fitness, or was it Tantra?
I think it was Tantra Fitness.
Yeah. One of the studios.
Yeah.
Long
Tantra
time
Fitness.
ago.
Well, I would usually see you on passing, basically, but I
Yeah.
don't know you yet then.
I definitely knew your hair, so
Yeah.
it's pretty
And then
unique.
I think we just started conversation at Penthouse.
Yes,
When
there we go. For sure.
One of my regular was like, oh, I wanna meet this kimchi girl.
Kimchi.
And I'm like, I don't know her, but sure, I'll take her your way.
Yes, he's great. He's so loyal. He loves them Asian girls. Anyways, super sidebar. But let's get started on like, how do you define yourself? What do you do? Who are you? Tell the audience.
Well, that's a very general question.
Yes. And you can define it whichever way that you want. So
I am a Filipino movement art explorer.
Oh, I like that title. I like that title.
I'm the kind of girl who constantly explore her curiosities. That's what brought me into burlesque and other forms of movement modalities and stripping.
Such a well-rounded artist. I'm so excited to get into all of this because, again, you have given me so much to work with. But I guess why don't we start with your roots, which is burlesque.
Yeah.
So I think you gave me a little bit of like some spark notes here, but I believe you mentioned that you started off with Screaming Chickens Burlesque. And then you're with a new burlesque troupe now, and you just had a show last night. Congrats.
Yes, I had a show last night, but I'm not part of any burlesque troupes right now. So I've just been working mainly in this industry, the stripping industry.
Yes.
So I got into burlesque when I graduated in art school.
Oh.
And I had a roommate who was a costume designer in the film industry.
Oh!
She was a very adventurous lady, and she actually was the one who told me like, oh, have you ever seen burlesque before? And I'm like, no, let's go check it out. So we started doing it as a monthly routine where we get to wear costumes that she made and then go to burlesque shows, and we were like peacock showing off her costume creations.
That's so
And
cool.
so she was getting commission work from us peacocking it in burlesque shows, and I was, the doors opened up to this whole new world of burlesque, and I was inspired in being part of it when I forgot this burlesque performer's name, but it was like
someone that's local?
Yeah, it's local here in Vancouver.
Okay.
And it's like the voluptuous women being on stage. So the theme of the burlesque show was about big voluptuous women.
Cool.
And I just thought that them performing on stage, showing themselves in their big, bold, beautiful assets was just freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to do that. But I want to represent the little ones. Like the petite ones.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing I really appreciated about burlesque, how it's so diverse.
Yeah.
And how you can represent a variety of beauty in its different shape, size, and form kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, so from that particular show, because I thought beforehand that burlesque was only for, the stereotypical definition of beauty, which is blonde, blue-eyed, curvaceous Victoria's Secret kind of girls, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot more diversity.
It's more diverse, and then I found out the existence of Screaming Chicken Theatrical Society. Shout out. And then I just took their Becoming Burlesque course. Cool. And the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. How did you hear about them? Is it something that you researched?
Just from that show itself, because that particular show, the producer was part of Screaming Chicken.
Gotcha.
And right now I forgot her name.
Oh no.
I'm like blanking out.
It's okay.
Anyway, she's
might come back to you. Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, so then you started taking lessons, and I guess you were just enamored.
Yeah, so they had like this intensive course at the chicken coop.
Where is the Screaming Chicken? Is that like, where's their studio? Like,
it's like close to East Hastings and Nanaimo area.
So close to my house.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm down the street.
Yeah.
Don't stalk me.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then I guess from that, in your own journey with burlesque, you said you wanted to represent like the little ones and stuff. Mm-hmm. Was that always kind of like your motivation, or was it just more of a thing that you wanted to explore, or just did you even know what you were doing, or just kind of doing it for fun? What was your motivation like?
I think since that point I realized I was already an exhibitionist, you know, because when I graduated in art school I was doing life form modeling.
Oh, okay.
You know, and
what did you study in art school?
I studied photography.
Oh my god.
And then I realized I don't like being the photographer. I want to be on the other side of the camera. So
that's great. All attention on me, y'all.
It's a Leo in me.
There we go. So you always had this arty side, and then you understood and realized that you're an exhibitionist. So you're like, okay, burlesque may be the way to go.
Yeah.
How was your transformative process with that? Because now how long ago was that you started?
I started 7 years ago now.
Oh wow! Yeah, you've been doing it for a while.
I lost track of counting, but I could be wrong.
It's been some time. Yeah. And then, did you have any type of like formal dance background before, or any kind of movement background?
No. Actually. Well, I know when I was a baby, a little girl, I got ballet background, but that's about it. Yeah, because when I was in the Philippines, I was in convent school.
Oh my god!
So
I was convent school? Like for nuns?
Yeah, I was.
You could be nun.
Teachers who were nuns. It was like a French convent school.
What? Oh my god! Total 180. Holy shit!
And I think
incredible.
Even when I was a kid, I was already into like the limelight because Filipino perspective. I'm considered really good looking as a kid. So I was basically I was told by my mom how like there are like, you know, those media agencies who are interested in like recruiting me or scouting me to be an actress kind of thing. And my mom's like, nope, that's not her path. Nope, she's gonna be a good girl. And then there was a point where she auditioned my little sister for a clothing line, a Garfield clothing line.
Okay.
And my sister didn't want to have it. She was like, no! And then, so the casting directors were there, and I'm like, how about me? And I started posing, and then I ended up getting hired. And then my parents realized, oh shoot, like, yeah, this is money, but she couldn't do it because she's in a convent school. So that's actually how I got my stripper name.
What?
So they had to start, like, they had to come up with a persona for me immediately when I got that modeling contract because I cannot be caught by the convent school doing modeling gigs because it's not allowed.
It's not allowed?
Yeah.
What?
So, yeah, it's something about, you know, you have to be humble.
Yeah.
You know, you're not allowed to pursue anything
that's
like vanity.
Yeah, nothing that can attract you, like, you know, attention on you.
From like that Christ-like.
Oh, God. I know all about that. All about that.
Yeah. And then from that modeling gig, it kind of spiraled where I started doing Little Miss Sunshine in the Philippines.
Oh my gosh.
And then they had
the pageants and stuff.
Yeah, the pageants.
Right. It's a huge scene in the Philippines.
Yeah, so I did that. There were a couple of times where I would think I was going to school, and then I would ask my dad, like, where are we going? And he wouldn't say anything, and then I would be in this set full of cameras, and next thing you know, I'm in a commercial.
Oh my god.
And then I'm like so confused, this confused little kid, like, I don't know what's going on. I thought I was gonna go to school. And I'm in a commercial.
That's kind of sweet though, as a kid though.
Yeah, so, but the thing is, my parents were making money out of me without me getting the money.
Momager.
So when I started being a stripper, like when I was going up the stairs to the penthouse and I was with my stripper mama, she was like, so did you come up with your name yet? And I'm like, oh, I can't use Pocket Phoenix. And I was like, no. I'm like,
No.
oh, okay. And then that's the first name, and then came like, okay, I'm just gonna use my persona. My little Filipino persona.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what was your Filipino persona then?
Oh, well, it's Angelique.
Oh yes, okay. Yeah.
So
the name Pocket Phoenix derived from your school?
when I graduated from art school, I was looking for random gigs while I was looking for work, and then one of my random gig was like for modeling for Bowen Island, a small town out of Vancouver.
Yeah.
So the art community there apparently dubbed me Pocket Venus.
Pocket Venus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know that. And then later on, one of the people who lived there told me, like, yeah, you're dubbed as Pocket Venus, because at that time I was a hardcore yogi. And every time they know I'm coming, they look forward to me because I do all these crazy stretchy poses for them.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so that's when I decided, when I decided to become a burlesque performer, I was just going to use that name, Pocket Venus. I had a time in my life where I was going through transitioning, where with a breakup with my ex-boyfriend of 7 years.
We're gonna get into that later.
Yeah, and I was just going through all these uncomfortable changes, and I was not feeling Pocket Venus anymore.
Oh, okay.
And so I was going through all these uncomfortable transitions, and I thought to myself, I needed to change my name too.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to change it to Pocket Phoenix, because it's like burning from the ashes to this fire
reincarnation.
A reincarnation kind of thing. And I think because I was realizing within that time frame that the vibe of my acts were really intense.
Oh.
Because when I was
burlesque acts?
Yeah. When I was Pocket Venus, I was this cutesy, bubbly, pink and cotton candy.
Like how I see you now.
My hair is still, but just my acts were just cutesy and bubbly and very happy.
Yeah,
and
very
then
lively, very light.
Yeah, very light. And but then when I was going through this transition, I just got really intense.
Wow.
I was just, all my acts were very
like aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive. That's when I started doing fight sticks in my burlesque acts, Arnis, and I was doing very contemporary vibe performances. Yeah.
So interesting. Okay, so let's go into that then. So I guess after burlesque, or maybe during burlesque, you started
burlesque.
Yeah, so you started, I guess, training, or wanted to get more in touch with your Filipino roots. Because I guess you were in the Philippines and then you moved here at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What made you want to get in touch with your heritage?
So when I moved here to Canada, because I had a best friend who was part of, I don't know if you've heard of it, Youth for Christ.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
Singles for Christ.
Yeah, that's it's a good church group. It's for teenagers, and lots of Filipinos typically are in it and stuff. And
because I didn't know anybody here, and I had a best friend from the Philippines who moved here, and then since he was my only connection, I felt obliged to be part of his group. But then I wasn't really resonating with what they're into. It's very culty,
very culty, very culty,
very religious. And at that time, I was trying to open up my horizon, and I'm like, I'm not really feeling this. And me and that particular best friend ended up getting to a big fight. He cut off ties with me.
Oh.
He kind of started gossiping negatively about me to the community, and so I was kind of banned from it. And then
about what?
Well, he just started stupid rumors. Apparently he was because at that time I posted photos of me and another girl at Facebook, and he was saying, oh, Pocket is lesbian now, blah blah. Don't talk to her.
Wow, so immature.
Yeah, so I was really hurt. I was really upset about that. And then from that day forward, I had a lot of shame for being Filipino because of that association with religion. Right. So I ended up cutting off that part of me.
Oh, wow.
Because of that.
And religion is so strong in Filipino.
I didn't want to be associated with anyone Filipino. I don't know, there was just a lot of shame with that. And then even when I started becoming a nanny, I didn't really talk to the Filipino nannies because sometimes they also talk you into religion thing. Like, oh, you should come to our religion event gathering, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was just so turned off with that.
Yeah, you're like, no, hard pass, not happening.
Traumatized. Anyway, and then, but at some point, I actually kind of miss connecting to my Filipino roots, and so I kind of put it out there in the universe. If the universe can connect me to some kind of Filipino movement-based community, and I found that through Kathara Filipino Art Collective.
And that's a Filipino dance troupe.
Yeah, it's a Filipino dance troupe here in Vancouver. The dances that they teach are very pagan-based.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
What do you mean by that?
Dances that they did before the colonization
of
like Spaniards kind of thing.
Right.
So it's like talking about gratitude dances kind of thing.
Interesting.
Or like storytelling about farmlands and...
Wow.
So,
never heard of this stuff before.
So it's really cool. So I connected with them. When I was part of their group, we even got headlines in the Metro newspaper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, during the time I was at Burning Man Festival in Black Rock City, Nevada. I didn't even know that. It's a good thing there was like Wi-Fi access in the camp I was in Black Rock City.
Yeah.
And then I got a message from one of the Kathara girls like, hey, yo, you're in the front page. I'm like, oh, okay,
so
cool.
Okay, so Filipino roots. I guess you started incorporating some of that movement into your burlesque training?
I was intending to do that, incorporate it with my burlesque, the Filipino indigenous dancing, but I ended up not doing it. I just ended up like using it as a way to heal my connection with my roots. Because I had to deal with all the shame and pains that I experienced with like my upbringing, with my Filipino family upbringing, and with my ex-best friend.
Right. Very interesting. And also, I forgot, you also mentioned off the air about the Burlesque Olympics in Vegas.
Oh, the Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend.
Yeah.
So,
tell me about that.
So,
because like all of this training is contributing to your training in burlesque, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, they're all very interdisciplinary.
So there was one year in 2016 when Screaming Chicken decided that they wanted to compete at the Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada. So it's like the Olympics of burlesque, and we did this really cute and weird act. It's titled Ballet de Poulet. So we were basically chickens dancing ballet in the beginning. So we were doing classic ballet dance, and then next thing you know, a bunch of us just keeps going into the stage, and everyone's like, how many Screaming Chickens are in there? So we basically filled up the entire stage, and they were like, wow! I don't even remember how many Screaming Chicken girls were there, but we did get a major standing ovation.
Oh wow!
And we won the best big group in 2016 and the most comedic.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
And we basically put Canada
on
in
the map.
burlesque map.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating. How do you guys come up with the concepts for your shows and for your acts?
For Screaming Chicken, it's a troupe where anyone can basically lead,
Oh,
So for this particular act, I think they've had that particular act for many years now, and they just decided to add more people in it.
Yeah, to amplify it.
Yeah, to amplify it. The girls who created the act was Melody Mangler, April O'Peel, and Diva Fantango.
Okay,
yeah, just had a baby.
Oh, yay, congrats! That's so awesome. Yeah, so big win for Canada there. Again, just making Canada kind of more well-known in the community.
Yeah.
Because is it mostly in the burlesque community? What countries usually dominate? Is it lots of Americans?
Yeah, usually it's the American performers who dominate.
And how's the judging based for that competition? I guess there's probably different techniques and costumes and
they did list down the criteria. I know they sent it, but I didn't read it.
That's okay. That's okay. And you're still performing, you said, too. I guess you just had a show yesterday.
Yeah, last night with Bad Company Burlesque.
Very cool. And how did this opportunity find you? or how did you find the opportunity for that? Because you said you hadn't performed in burlesque for about a year now, so you took a bit of a hiatus and stuff.
Yeah, so it's basically the producers of shows who messaged me, who went in my DMs, checking in if I wanted to perform.
DMs.
Yeah, sending me DMs. They were like, we haven't seen you in the scene for a while. We miss you. Can you do our show? I'm like, yes. Oh, you still remember me.
Well, I guess since then you've had like a huge amount of training since then. So you've had traditional burlesque training, you've kind of started and dabbled with Filipino dance training as well. I want to go more into your combative performance art training.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to speak a bit about that? I think you mentioned you do some like fire spinning or fire dance, staff spinning, wrestling.
All the movement arts I tried. Well, not all.
But a good amount.
A good amount.
Which one to get into?
Get into.
Well, I guess I know you mentioned you got into more of a combative approach because you were dealing with the breakup of
Yeah,
ex.
so I think other than that, I got into the combative arts because I got asked to be part of Sailor Moon Burlesque.
Oh, you're a part of that?
Yeah,
Oh my
so
god,
I was-
so cool.
I was in the music video for that.
What?
And then the
Oh,
producer
that's so awesome.
messaged me, and she messaged me and she told me she wanted me to be part of the live show
Oh my god.
at the Rio Theater.
Yeah.
And so she was like telling me how they wanted every performer part of the show to offer something different.
Right.
Yeah, and she was like telling me how one of the girls is gonna be doing capoeira in her act, and then another one is doing some kind of Latin dance. And so I was trying to brainstorm, and I was pitching in ideas and suggestion to dance coordinator at that time, Chastity Twist.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I
she's
don't
great
know
too.
her.
I don't know her personally, but I know she used
Yeah.
to teach a tantrum for
So,
me.
so she was in charge then of the performances for that show. I think she also ended up becoming the producer when the lead producer moved back to Australia.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, and I said, well, how about if I do Arnis? It's a Filipino fight stick dance form. I was just like YouTubing, Googling, like I don't know what to do. And then I came across it, and also because I know someone who I collaborated with at Star Wars Burlesque.
Oh, and you were in Star Wars Burlesque
Yeah, I
too?
was also in
Oh
Star
my
Wars
god. I know all of these. So amazing. So were you in the Harry Potter Burlesque too?
No.
Okay, never mind. So many different ones.
Yeah, so I know the Yoda, Jesse Inokala, who's also Filipino.
Represent yo.
Yeah, he did Arnis, and so I was like, oh okay, how about if I do Arnis and then I know who I could train with.
Yeah, totally.
So and Chastity's like, yeah, we don't have Arnis yet, do
Yeah.
it. And so I ended up actually training with Jesse Inokala to learn the basics, and then I continued on with Michelle Smith. Michelle Smith is one of those badass bitch babes in the local stunt
community
here
Oh,
in
cool.
Vancouver.
Yeah, for
So
film and
she-
television.
Yeah, for film and television.
Cool.
So she was teaching staff spinning, so I already enrolled in her course then.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
she was like offering pop-up workshops on combative performance arts and
So
fight
cool.
sticks, but more in the film industry because it's different with the actual fighting in film.
Yeah.
So I continued on with that, and then when I was doing that, I was also doing dance hall.
Right,
I,
yes.
Yeah, I even went
to
to
intensive.
Kingston, Jamaica to do a 2-week intensive dancing with, the Jamaicans. It's dance there is like such a big deal.
Yeah,
it's just
huge part of that
their
culture.
So
So cool.
Macaroni. It was pretty intense.
They know how to move.
Yeah, they know how to move, and there's like just so much politics kind of thing.
Oh, like
Pretty
what?
crazy.
You wanna speak on
Like
that?
even in like house parties, it's a must to have like dance combats. Like if it's just a simple house party, you start a circle, everyone does a dance combat, everyone has to go on the circle.
So
it's just
intense.
really fascinating,
Yeah.
and they have like a lot of street parties going on.
So
there's like
fun.
the after parties and the after parties. It's just so crazy, and if there's cars like passing by, everyone just like squeezes on the side.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's
So
ridiculous,
cool.
really cool. I digress. Yeah, and then from dance hall, it was overlapping with wrestling. And when I started doing wrestling, it was because I was going through a hard part of my life.
Yeah, with the end of your relationship.
Yeah, so I was going through the ending of a 7-year relationship. I'm a Leo. I have so much anger that I needed to bring out, and I was like, I need to bring it out healthily.
Yeah, I need an outlet.
I need an outlet, and Melody Mangler was sort of casually talking me into doing wrestling even a year before, and I was like, no, I can't do that. You know, I'm too girly, I'm too feminine. And then that time frame when I was like, okay, I'm ready. I need to
get this out of my system.
Get this out of my system. And I went back to her, and the resource like, okay, I'm ready. I want to do this wrestling thing.
Wow.
And then so I did one Glam Slam show. I got scouted by All Star Wrestling.
What?
So I got in a roster. So in wrestling, there's like terminologies. There's the baby face, which is the good guy, and the heel, which is the bad guy.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure. I just needed an outlet. That's why I trained. And then they started putting me in a position of being the manager of the heel.
Okay.
So I'm like the sidekick of the heel. So I was like the bad guy kind of thing. And then
this is so cool.
yeah, there was like storming interest of having me train more to be a wrestler. And so for a year in 2018, I was just training hardcore in wrestling.
I did not know this about you.
Yeah, so within the 6-month mark of it, I was really miserable because I was having a hard time because there's a lot of skills involved with wrestling that I needed to have.
Yeah.
And it's like skills that I wish I had as a kid, like gymnastic skills. Because there's like 2 different styles of wrestling too. There's the WWE style and the Lucha Libre, which is the Mexican style.
Oh.
And so with the Mexican style, it's more acrobatic, more like aerials kind of thing and slamming your body.
Wow.
And so my coach was training me in the Lucha Libre style because they were like really wanting to mold me into a wrestler. But I was constantly getting injured. I was getting neck whiplashes. I was getting hit on hard by the guys, and they won't freaking leave me alone.
And you're training with guys and competing against guys too? Like in
I was doing matches with guys, even in training, 250-pound.
Oh my god!
Men. And you guys, I am a 95-pound
tiny little thing. Oh my god.
Filipina. And then my coach was, it's awesome that my coach was making me do all these moves. He was like, telling me, I would be like, no, I can't do that. Like, nope, I don't care if you're a girl or not, you're gonna be doing what the guys are doing. And I'm like, okay. He did not discriminate, but I was having a hard time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was learning how to do vertical suplexes on men where I had to lift them and slam them on the ground.
This is insane. Oh my god.
It's really cool, but
I need to see videos of this.
there's a couple in Instagram.
Oh my god, that's wild.
Yeah, and so the 6-month mark, I was like, okay, I'm always broken. Miserable. Too much testosterone. And then I'm like, I wanted to quit, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna give it a year. So I was pushing it, and then if I'm still miserable within the 1-year mark, I'm gonna leave. If I feel like there's progress, I'll continue on. There was a wrestler in New York. He was part of WWE. Short Sleeve Samson. He really wanted me to be part of his crew. They were a traveling wrestling.
Short Sleeve Samson. These names are so golden.
Yeah, it was for Midget Warrior Wrestling.
Midget Warrior Wrestling. Oh my god.
Yeah, so it was an opportunity because they offered it to me. I knew I was gonna get paid for it.
Yeah.
When he brought his crew from all over the world, so there were a couple from Mexico and US. Not everyone is in one place. He would pay for their flights to go to Vancouver for shows, kind of thing.
Oh my god.
And
so it was a really cool gig.
Yeah, it was a really cool gig. Because I really wanted to travel.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this would be a cool way to travel around the world for wrestling.
Totally.
So I kind of tried sucking it up. And then within the 1-year mark, I'm just like, okay,
no.
I'm constantly broken.
Yeah. It's hard. I used to do wrestling for 5 years when I was in high school, but that's like Olympic style.
Yeah.
Back in the day. This is completely different. This is like acrobatic shit.
Yeah, and WWE and Lucha Libre. So
It's hard.
different style, but we get to explore both modalities. And I think I was just having a hard, like, you know, with dance, it's choreography. So even in wrestling, yeah, it's fake, but then it involves freestyle choreography.
Yeah.
And, you know, pretending to hurt each other without hurting each other. But sometimes that's really hard. And
It's hard.
like if you're
It's acting, right? So
it's acting, but then when I was also noticing when I was watching this wrestling show, if like ego gets in the way, because you know sometimes you find out who you're gonna do a match with day of the match.
Oh wow, okay.
And you know these are testosterone loaded guys, and sometimes they're just really cocky and they're like steroid loaded. And sometimes they're doing a match with a girl, they don't give a shit, you know. And I saw that, I witnessed that, and I would check it there because I had a friend who did a match with one of those kind of guys, and I'm like, are you okay? Like, I saw how he handled you.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, yeah, I wish I was doing a match with my duo partner, not him, because, you know, she ended up, you know, in pain.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so-
That's so intense. Okay, so at the end of the 1 year mark, you're like, no, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do this, and I decided to be a stripper.
Yeah, I was gonna ask him, like, is this when you transitioned into stripping? So,
Yeah, basically.
oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how did you decide that you want to get into stripping? Because stripping is very different from burlesque.
Yeah, I think I just saw a lot of posts from burlesque performers turned strippers, like on Instagram,
That's
and I was just really curious about it.
Yeah.
And then I decided before I jump into it, my research first, you know. So I reached out to a couple of burlesque girls who were in the community, in the stripping community.
Yeah. Who crossed over?
Yeah, so I think I was just really grateful I had that
Network?
Yeah, I had that network. You know,
Yeah.
because not everyone is fortunate enough to have that network.
Totally.
So I just basically reached out to all the girls I knew in the burlesque community who were in the strip community, and then you know some of them were like, oh yeah, we can have a FaceTime chat and I'll tell you about the industry.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. And one of the sweet ladies who did that was Lola Frost.
I love
You
Lola
know,
Frost.
So she was living in Alberta then,
Yeah.
and then she actually took the time to FaceTime chat me.
That's nice.
And then she answered all my questions. She also gave me all the warnings I need to know about the industry.
She's
you know.
so lovely.
So she gave me the real raw dude pants part of stripping.
Yeah, because not a lot of people will tell you that part,
Yeah.
right? So then you took the plunge.
Yeah, so that's when I took the plunge.
Is that also when you started training in pole then?
Actually, I was.
Or you're
I was
also
already
doing
training
that?
before.
Ah!
So
There you
like
go.
with the dance hall and the wrestling, I was like squeezing in pole training.
How do you have
the
time to do all this
tantra.
stuff? Oh my god.
I don't know. Sometimes a movement art gets neglected. I know my wrestling coach kind of gave me shit for that too, because I was training in dance hall and pole when I was training in wrestling, and
So many
because
things.
they were really wanting me to focus on wrestling. He actually told me like, you know what, Shorts really wants you to be in his crew. If you take it seriously, if you want to have that opportunity, you'll have to quit your other stuff.
Oh
And I think that kind of broke my heart when he said that to me. I'm like, no, I need to be in touch with my feminine goddess side.
Yeah, no, totally.
You know, like I needed that balance already. So,
Yeah. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. So then, okay, so then you started stripping. So how did you get involved with that? How did you get started at the Penthouse? Is that where you got started?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got into the Penthouse. I reached out to one of the girls. I don't know if you know her, Jungle Cat.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, so Jungle Cat was one of my stripper mamas.
Stripper mamas. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so I just messaged her and I just basically told her like, hey, I want to give this stripping a chance.
Yeah.
Show me the ropes. So we went to the Penthouse together. So I met her at her place. We went together. And then my first night there, I was by the bar at the Penthouse and she was doing her hustle, and then I grabbed her and then we were at the bar and I'm like, I don't really know how to talk to these creatures. I was like mortified. I'm like, how do you talk to these people? How do you talk to this man? And she was like, don't worry about it. You can handle it. I'm like, no.
Teach me.
Teach me. And so she actually, the first couple minutes, she had to hustle for me.
Oh my god, did you like follow her around the club?
I was like literally holding her hand tight.
Oh my god, so
and then
sweet.
one of the burlesque girls who is also, I guess, my stripper mama in a way, that bitch Lou was like basically teaching Jungle Cat how to,
How to hustle.
well, how to teach me.
Yeah, okay.
She was basically, she was showing me like, you remember when you were a stripper, baby, and I teach you how to do this and that. So she was basically teaching Jungle Cat on like being a stripper mama.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so the first couple hours, I guess, Jungle Cat was like, I wouldn't let go of her hands, and she was like basically going to this tape, like, hey guys, I'm, this is my stripper baby. Do you guys want to buy a dance from either or both of us?
Yeah, sell the duo dance.
So she was basically hustling for both of us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm like, come on.
Yeah, and
two girls are better than one.
yeah, and of course I didn't know how to do lap dances then too. And then I went to Bitch Lou. I'm like, I don't know how to do these lap dances. So we actually went to the change room and she demonstrated to me. I'm like, oh, okay. I get it now. And then from there I had to YouTube it and figure out my hustle. Yeah.
How was that trying to figure out your hustle?
It was
You're
really,
much better hustler than I am.
Yeah, no, it was really slow and hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
VIP is the hardest game.
It's really hard.
But also the most rewarding. Tons of
It
good
could
payout.
be if you're able to figure your hustle. So
Yeah.
I know, like she told me that her first 6 months she was able to make the most of her money. So I think she was a stripper then like for 2 years.
Okay.
She's like, take advantage of your stripper baby vibe.
Yeah.
Men smell it.
They love it.
They love it. You'll make the most money out of it because they think you're so innocent and sweet and you're
Just
so
waiting to be tainted.
And so like my first 6 months I was like, why am I not doing as well as you said I will?
Everyone's hustle game is different, right?
Yeah, and I think because I was still such a burlesque girl then, I had all the glitter on my face.
Oh wow. So yeah, like full showgirl on.
Full showgirl, divorce dust. So of course I wasn't getting my hustle game on, and then within the 6-month mark I decided, okay, I think I need to invest in like
Some coaching.
stripper coaching.
Yeah.
So that's actually when I did invest in that. So
Right. Yeah, because you I guess you did buy some, I think.
like stripper courses, and then I was
Yeah.
just like listening and checking out Instagram posts by this like OG stripper mentors,
Which one?
and then I just basically selected who I resonated with,
Right.
and one of them was Rags to Riches.
Oh, yeah,
Rags to Riches.
Riches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like super business savvy, very
Very.
like Grant Cardone style, very aggressive. And then I invested in a couple more.
Yeah.
I invested in middle-aged
Stripper. Yep. Also a great resource.
Yeah, you know her, but I just found her style too savage for me. I mean, she's really good. She's a good,
Yeah.
It
just depends.
Yeah.
On what you resonate with.
Yeah, just because I invested in her course and her style was just too aggressive for me, and I was like, I need someone who I could resonate with, like vibe-wise.
Yeah.
Because my vibe was like more sweet and
Fun and playful.
and
Not like
charismatic personality, not like
savage bitch.
Yeah, savage bitch. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But it's just not my personality. And
Yeah.
then, so I came across Charm School for Dancers from
Right.
Las Vegas. I don't know if you know her.
No, I know that name too. I think I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, so she's really sweet. She private messages me when
that's
she
so
sees
nice
like
to check
Instagram
in.
posts that I posted. She would like give me constructive feedback, even with my poll.
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
you have a hard time with your Superman. Here are some links. You
Super
need
helpful.
to. Yeah, you need to fix your leg. Blah. So
Yeah.
she doesn't even know me.
That's so sweet sweet though.
Yeah,
it's
so
nice
she
to have
was
support.
and I really like her verbiage options there too, because I could express that even more just because it was more genuine, I guess. I don't know what's the right word. I can just resonate with it.
Yeah,
it's more,
you can understand that better.
Yeah, it's more respectful, more charismatic, sweet kind of thing.
It's more you.
Yeah, it's more me. Yeah, and another stripper resource I have was Luscious Lifestyle by Lauren.
Oh yeah, Lauren. Yeah, I'm supposed to be on her podcast.
Oh, she messaged you?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be on her podcast, and like we've been trying to like schedule the call, and then like she forgot, and I forgot, and then I was in Europe. We're like, it's gonna happen this year in 2020.
Yeah, so I love her so much.
She's a babe.
You know, like
She's so sweet, so positive.
yeah, and she offers like her favorite like line, real raw McDude pants vulnerability.
Yes.
And I really appreciate her amazing perspective on like challenges and issues we have as dancers. She's just like willing to be vulnerable and share her perspective, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know.
So you found a lot of value in these courses, sounds like.
Yeah, and also
and there's more.
I invested in a lot. Like
no, it's good. You want to be successful, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the quotes of my stripper mentor, Paige Cole, she was saying how
she had the podcast too.
Yeah, did you listen to her?
Yeah.
So she said that for every dollar you invest in your growth, $100 come back. So it's really hard to invest a lot of money sometimes, but if you resonate with it, if you vibe with it, you know, like just do that investment because you're gonna get that money back plus more. And I like that quote. I mean, I still kind of cringe. I'm like, money, but you know.
Wow. So you feel like that's really helped.
It did help me a
game?
lot. Yeah, because with Paige Cole, she helped a lot with money mindset. Just a lot of work on the mindset part of being a stripper. You know, because it's a kind of industry where it's not consistently.
It's up and down.
It's up and down basically.
And it fluctuates. You know, nothing is set in stone. Like I've had some shitty days where I made like literally $35. Other days I made like $800. Like it's such a range, but you have to really commit to it.
So
right?
So it's nice having OG mentors who you could talk to when you're having issues, because I also invested in some of them for like one-on-one coaching. So if I have challenges, I talk to them about it, and then they give me perspective on it. So it's nice to have like perspective in their point of view kind of
for sure. What are some of the most valuable tips that you think that you've received from these workshops and these courses and stuff?
I think one of the most valuable things I learned is just like having a mindset shift. Like the internal work with it. Because I know like with being a hustler, it's all about making the money. But then I think it's also about the lessons you learn, because being a stripper, it's like a reflection of life.
Oh, it's so deep.
Shit. So
tell me what you
know, like sometimes you're gonna be placed in situations where it reflects on something in your childhood, and it's like PTSD.
Oh, it's like a trigger.
You get triggered. Like you constantly get triggered, and it's like handling those triggers.
Yeah. How do you deal with that?
How to deal with those situations. How to deal when, you know, you're rejected. How to deal with energy you don't vibe with. You know, and just being okay to sit on it and just reflecting on it and figuring out a mindset shift for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because you do. It's totally a mental thing. Your success is totally a mental thing.
It's a mind fuck. Because I know my first 6 months too, there were a couple of times where, you know, I was placed in situations, interactions with customers where I didn't know what to say or do, and I just freeze, and then I just get really upset, and then I would just go home. Because I would like have a meltdown in the change room. I'm like,
and the night's
over. You know, like, I know there was one guy who told me I was my cheery, happy self, and then I was just joking around. He was obviously in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Like, I should have read that and just left. But then I was like having that intention to
make money and
to switch it up.
Oh, okay,
and so, you know, and then he said in my face, you know what? As a business person, you're doing a shit job. And then what do you say when someone does that to you, you know? And I just
said that to you?
Yeah. as a business person, you're doing a shit job. And
oh my God.
I just froze, and I just like, oh, so you want me to go? And he was like, yeah.
Oh my God.
And so after that interaction, I just walked out, went to the change room, I cried.
Oh my God. What'd you say to that though? That would totally catch me off guard. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and so I spoke to Paige Cole about it, and she was like, oh, you could have said that, he didn't have to be so mean.
Yeah.
Or...
So rude.
Yeah, or I could have said, you know what, for a human being, you're doing a shit job.
Yeah, that's true. People think of things to say afterwards and after the fact, right?
Because sometimes, like all service jobs, people forget that we're also human beings.
Yeah, we're
we have
human.
Feelings.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but,
So rude.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that. But one more thing I do want to talk to you about. You mentioned you got a new sugar daddy.
Oh, boy.
I wanted to speak to you on that. So, how was that experience for you?
Well, it was very short-lived.
Oh, no!
So
What
it was
happened?
just recently. It was I think 3 weeks ago. So I was hustling, and then he actually offered a buyout to me.
Oh, okay.
Where it was like, oh, can you hang out with me? And, it's
Right,
my
it's with
birthday.
the club, right?
Yeah, that's a penthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my birthday. I want to hang out with you. And I'm like, well, I'm working right now, but if you want my time...
You have to pay for it.
I got to pay for it. And he was like, oh, I'll pay you a K for it. And I'm like,
sweet.
oh, you have the cash?
Show me the money.
And I was like, no, but I can withdraw money. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I have to get my stuff, and then we can hang out. So as a stripper, you have to be good at reading vibes and nonverbal communication cues. And I listened to this audiobook by a former FBI interrogator, Chris Voss.
Okay.
So I based reading people from what I learned from him, what I remember learning. I don't remember all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. I sensed that he was trustworthy, and he's not gonna screw me over. It's just like his body language, his vibe. I was like, okay, I think I'll be safe with him. And I was like, okay. So I told him, okay, well, I just have to get my stuff, and then we can meet, and then you can give me the money, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
And so I got my stuff. We sort of left. We were gonna go to his hotel.
Okay.
And then on our way, he was like, okay, he told me, because the ATM machine wasn't working.
Of course it wasn't. Fuck.
And he ended up giving me his phone
Oh my God.
to put in the amount and my email address.
For
and I was
e-transfer.
for e-transfer. I was
Oh my
looking
God.
at him like, you're trusting me? You don't even know me.
Yeah.
I guess he also felt my vibe and I was trustworthy because he just
Yeah.
handed in my phone. Okay, put in the amount and then put your email
Oh.
address. I'm like,
Okay.
And his friend was there. I'm like, he just trusted me. Are you a stripper? He doesn't know me. He just
That's
anyway,
amazing.
so I ended up putting the money amount. I
Yeah.
gave him my email, and then it was a quick transaction, basically. And I hanged out with him, and then on our way to the hotel, he looked back at me. He's like, "Oh, before we continue, what are your boundaries?" And then I look at him. I'm like, "That's the sexiest thing I've ever heard from a dude ever."
From a dude, yeah.
From a customer ever. Are you? And then he was like, "Oh, because I just want to make sure I'm not, breaking into any boundaries."
That's so nice
It was
to
so
hear that.
respectful.
Yeah.
And so
What a change.
Yeah, it was so nice. So I hanged out with them, and then at the end of the night, he asked me where I live, and he was like, "What area do you live in? If you need a ride, I can take you there." And again, you need to make sure you're safe, you guys. You just don't
red flag,
accept
red flag.
opportunities like that.
Yeah.
And because of the questions and the interaction, I was like, okay. So I just basically told him, "Oh, I live in this area. Can you just drop me off at this
Here.
station close to where I live?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, cool. Okay, cool." A couple days later, he messaged me again. It's like, "Oh, I'm in your hood. I'm at the Cactus Club in your hood. Come over and hang out with me." And I told him, "Oh, you can't really do that to me because I also have a life out of being a stripper." And then it clicked to me like, "Oh, he's interested." So that's basically when I pitched the option like, how about the option of being my sugar daddy? Do you want to give it like a 1 month trial?
Yeah.
And then we did a negotiation where we were gonna meet up 4 times this month.
Yeah,
and
like
then
once a week or something.
yeah, and then he was gonna pay me for the 2 dates already ahead of time.
That's almost good, yeah.
Yeah, like he lives out of town.
Oh,
And then
okay.
he comes to Vancouver for work, and
I
so yeah, I can do sleepover, like we could cuddle and all that jazz. And then so anyway, we did a negotiation. So our first date, he gave me the money straight up. First 2 dates. And then after our date, I tried messaging him. I didn't hear from him. And then a couple days later, he messaged me and he basically told me, yeah, I realized that this sugaring thing isn't for me. I know I gave you advance money. He already gave me 2K at that point.
Hey.
And he said, yeah, I know you were supposed to have a date for the 2K.
Yeah.
The 1K. Just keep it, use it to pursue your dreams.
Oh my god, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, because I think when we were chatting on our first date, we found out that we were both podcast fanatics. So we listened to the same podcast.
Yay.
Out of the stripper podcast thing.
Yeah.
So we were just basically talking about podcasts, and we saw.
I listened to mine. Okay.
Yeah, so it was just
Cool.
really cool. Like, what? You listen to that podcast too? Me too.
So fun.
we just did a lot of like podcast conversations, and then I just basically shared him my goals and ambitions in the future, and
So it still sounds like a very positive experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had that.
We both had a positive experience. Just, well, because when it was his birthday, he just turned 30.
Oh, he's young,
Yeah,
too.
he's super young, but
Big
he's
money,
also
interesting.
go-getter
Yeah.
kind of guy. So it ended in a positive note.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had a good experience, too.
Yeah, I
Sounds
had
like
a good
it.
experience, good vibes.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
so important.
sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
hearing about that. And with that, I guess we'll go into Q&A since they're mostly sugar daddy related. So
Oh my god.
there's only a few here. So what is the story of the sugar daddy? Where did you meet? So I guess we kind of already answered that. You guys met at the club.
the penthouse.
So that's pretty sweet. And I guess you kind of went over this too. So how much does the sugar daddy pay per month? I guess that would have been like, what, 4K? A month?
Yeah, I was going for 4K, but
That's awesome.
I think I was basing my pricing on. I think you had her on your podcast, Danny.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to price it, because I did invest in like a sugar baby mentor course too, but then she's like super high end,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if I could price it that much.
Yeah.
So I was listening to Danny.
Yeah.
50 plus
She's
a
great.
pair.
She's great.
Yeah, and I was like,
love her.
oh, okay, I guess I'll base my pricing from her thing,
Yeah, sweet. Well, I guess worked out for you.
Plus more.
Plus more, yeah, totally. How do you get a sugar daddy when everyone wants to be a boyfriend? Oh my god, this is so true. Have you been on Seeking Arrangement?
I did, but I didn't really continue conversations there.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of drunk.
yeah, and I think I was just
Salt out
basing
there.
it on a lot of feedback I got from other girls who's been there.
Yeah.
A lot of the complaints were like, guys there don't want to spend the money on escorts.
Yeah,
And
they don't want to
it's
spend any
not-
money. They want everything for free.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, it's not worth my energy.
Yeah.
So I think if the opportunity opens up, I'm gonna just try getting sugar daddies from the penthouse.
Yeah. Well, there you know
This
what
is
you
the
do.
easiest
It's
lure for me.
easy.
Usually
Yeah.
when they message me back,
Sweet. That
I
works
give them
out.
my burner phone number. I give them my real phone
Yeah,
number.
no.
If I don't really want to get stalked.
No, exactly. You gotta protect her safety too, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta be very mindful of that. And I guess the last question, where do you get your hair done? I love your hair. I guess this person loves your hair too.
Well, it's done by a friend of mine who also used to be part of the burlesque scene.
Okay.
Alicia Levesque, but I think I get VIP.
VIP
treatment.
treatment.
Yeah, because she doesn't really fully do it. I just kind of,
You bug her.
Bug her. I bug her to do my hair.
She does a great job.
Yeah, because
So
she
good.
used to be a professional hair colorist, and then
The shows. It's so good. I love it.
and she couldn't really do it full time anymore because of injuries she acquired.
Okay.
So yeah, I just come to her every 3 months.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You guys haven't seen a picture of Pocket. It's like a rainbow.
Unicorn.
It's a unicorn, basically. It's beautiful. But I guess that's pretty much it for today. We covered so much ground. I feel like we covered almost everything there. But thank you so much for coming on the show. I do want to plug everything. Where can we find you?
Well, my Instagram handle is Pocket Phoenix Canada.
Yes.
And then I also have a website, pocketfirebird.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll plug
So
that
I think
there too.
that's about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you can find you at the Penthouse, obviously.
Yeah, I'm at the Penthouse Fridays and Saturday nights.
Yes. You can't miss her. She's one of a kind. Stand up from the rest of the girls.
Thank you, Steph, for having this platform to have sex workers share their stories to humanize us. I really want the podcast platform as a storytelling tool to allow sex workers in various modalities, whether they be a stripper like you and me, a cam girl, a dominatrix, an erotic masseuse, a full service provider, a burlesque performer even, to see each other as part of a tribe and use our sensuality to bring and share light to an industry that oftentimes has a dark rapport. Our world is so broken right now from the patriarchal destruction, and we need to raise up the positive goddess energy to help heal our world with our support, healing, and nurture vibes.
Damn right. No, that's well said. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words.
Yeah,
That's very,
you're
very
welcome.
sweet and very flattering.
My pleasure.
Well, it's just a part of like what I want to do, and that's the aim for the podcast is to diminish all these negative stereotypes and shame. And because it's just a job, it's just a freaking job, guys. Like, get over it. You know what I mean? Like, why does there have to be so much negativity surrounding it? There shouldn't be. We should be able to embrace it, right?
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
it's also a way for us to be of service.
Yes, and make money.
At the same time.
It's a win-win situation overall. Okay, well, I guess that's pretty much it for today. Yeah, I gotta get out of here. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Pocket Phoenix, guys. It was so nice to have you here today to speak about everything, and we'll catch you guys in for another episode next week. Don't forget to like, rate, subscribe, and follow Strip by Sia, and my personal is Sia Staff, and we'll see you guys next Sunday. Bye!
You're listening to Stripped by Sia, produced and hosted by Steph Sia, aka Kimchi, music by Ted D, photography by Ian Davern, and graphics by Maria